must be being paid by someone in power who does not like these accusations that have been made against them. And I think it's fair to ask, are you being paid by any of the men who've been accused by Jeffrey Epstein?
Wow. Today's installment of the Piers Morgan show, Piers Morgan Uncensored, if you will, did go off the rails as Michael Tracey got into a bit of a spat with Tara Palmeri about the reality of the Epstein files, or at least what the Epstein files have revealed to the public. Now, for whatever reason, Michael Tracey does not believe that the revelations that we've all learned about and all read for ourselves exist. And so that's kind of at the heart of this spat that I'm gonna show you the highlights of in just a minute. But before I do, Cenk.
I mean, we got former TYT versus kind of current TYT. That's kind of interesting.
Do you stand by your former hiring decisions?
Well, so Michael's an interesting cat. As you're gonna see here, I have a different theory as to why Michael is saying absurd things. So first we'll show you the absurd things and I'll tell you why I think he's saying them. And then of course we'll get into who's right.
Now look, I do think that there's been a little bit of extrapolation or moral panic. So for instance, when you look at the Epstein files, some of those documents are FBI files where they're taking in calls where people are making accusations. And I see that a lot of people take those accusations as gospel, and you shouldn't do that, right? Because some people did call in and make insane allegations, and there's no evidence of those more outlandish allegations. So I want to just be clear about that, because I do see people making that mistake. So just be careful with what you're reading, and don't assume that all of the allegations are 100% true.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, in a little bit, I'll give you order of credibility for what you're reading and how to determine it. And I'll say, look, Michael had this interesting moment here where he had trouble with his earpiece at a very inopportune time, but I actually believe him. So let's give you the videos.
Look at you. Okay, well, at the beginning of this episode, Morgan interviewed David Boies. And if you're unfamiliar with who that is, he's the person, the lawyer who represented Virginia Giuffre. And her case was against Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, used to be referred to as Prince Andrew, but he's been very bad, so he's had his title stripped from him. Now, Tracy has repeatedly accused Virginia Giuffre of fabricating her story. And more broadly, he doesn't think that Epstein was doing any sex trafficking at all. Now, if you think that's crazy, there's no way he believes that. Here he is, you should hear it from the horse's mouth.
You know what the files show us? That the government investigators who were on a warpath at this point against Epstein and then Maxwell discovered no credible evidence of any pedophilic sex trafficking or any sex trafficking at all to any third-party individuals, which was the crux of the mythology that Virginia Roberts Giuffre incubated, that Tara Palmeri amplified so lamentably credulously.
I'm gonna let you take that one, Cenk.
Yeah, that's absurd. There's a mountain of evidence. So look, some people are wondering, hey, is Michael Tracey running cover for Israel? That's not my experience with him. He's just a natural born contrarian. If you tell him the sky is blue and the grass is green, he will argue till the end of time that they are not. Right? So like this is the most obvious case in the world. There's video cameras in every room. They're in the tissue boxes. Gee, I wonder why they put video cameras. There's 1,200 victims. There's descriptions, there's emails of people going, I'll take a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old.
No trafficking, no pedophilia.
I mean, and Leon, there's Leon Black, according to the allegations, doing vicious rapes. Les Wexner called a co-conspirator by the FBI. There is a mountain of evidence, but no matter how much evidence you give Michael, that makes him want to oppose it even more.
It's crazy. I get the journalist's urge to maybe view things from a contrarian lens and be skeptical. Be skeptical of an official narrative, of conventional wisdom.
Yeah,
that is a good thing. But once you read the documents for yourself, how do you still reach the conclusion that there was no human trafficking happening?
And he's so over the top sometimes. Like he said, they were going on a warpath against Epstein. What warpath? When they caught him in 2008, they gave him such a light sentence. The sentence was, well, if you don't mind, come and use the jail as a hotel. You're free to go during the day because we know you have important work, like raping our children.
No, but Cenk, have you considered that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't happy with the sweetheart deal? He thought that Dershowitz could have done better. Have you considered that?
Oh, okay, wait a minute. Okay, so a tiny amount of time, but only at night. And then Ghislaine Maxwell is in the minimum security prison having the time of her life, but they're on a warpath against poor Epstein and Maxwell. I mean, it's classic Michael Tracey, like absurd contrarian nonsense.
So after that, Piers Morgan asked Palmeri for comment. And remember, she's one of the top reporters that's been following this story, reporting on it meticulously, if you ask me. But look, Tracy wasn't having it, so here's the clip.
I don't know, Michael, have you ever actually listened to any of the tapes at the Palm Beach, the police in Palm Beach, the detective? Have you listened to any of the girls that they interviewed that were as young as 14?
I've listened to them all.
Yeah, and you think that they're not credible?
I've listened to it all, Tara.
You don't think that entire pyramid scheme in a high school?
Do you think Virginia Roberts-Giuffre is credible? She had nothing to do with that initial Palm Beach investigation. We're talking about your former journalistic collaborator who had to recant allegations against Dershowitz, had to recant her allegations against
let her speak, please.
A Harvard professor, Stephen Koslin, recanted against Jean-Luc Brunel. So you defend the credibility
let her speak, or I'll cut your mic.
Of your journalistic collaborator. Go ahead.
Who do you work for, Michael?
All right, it's time for New Year's resolutions. We all make them, but I'm not making any big flashy resolutions that are gonna crash and burn by February. My reset is much simpler. It's about giving myself a break in the kitchen. Not by eating less, don't be crazy. But let's be honest, thinking about what to eat, shopping for it, cooking it, it's a drain. And when you're drained from cooking, you can't focus on the work that matters, and that's the work right here. That's where Cook Unity comes in. It's been my way of cheating. Like I have a personal chef. I'm very fancy that way, please. But without the insane cost. Restaurant quality meals on my schedule. So I ordered a bunch of things that I loved. So we got the pepperoni naan pizza. I love pepperoni pizza, I love naan. You put it together, it's genius. Golden chicken schnitzel. It's schnitzel, but it's golden. Okay, this stuff is all so good. New Orleans shrimp and grits. They have sausage in there too. Love it. And that's my point, guys. These aren't boring and repetitive meals. These are all-star chefs, Food Network alum, and James Beard winners. Handpicking seasonal ingredients and balancing bold flavors with nutrition. Every meal is a small batch masterpiece delivered fresh, never frozen. It makes hitting wellness goals effortless because a nutritious, incredible meal is ready in minutes. No shopping, no cooking, no cleanup. You can browse by chef, by cuisine, filter macros to the gram, not a thing I would do, but you could. And it's way less than takeout or even grocery store prices. Plus their packaging is part of a reusable, eco-friendly program. You can't ask for more. Taste comfort and craftsmanship in every bite from the award-winning chefs behind Cook Unity. Go to cookunity.com/TYT or enter code TYT before checkout to get 50% off your first order. That's 50% off your first order by using code TYT or going to cookunity.com/TYT.
Oh my God. Okay, I had listened to this episode. I hadn't watched the video of it. I gotta say, the look on everyone's face as he's talking is just like John Kiriakou is the guy in the middle. He's a former CIA agent.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike Benz is the other guy, and he just has this blank look on his face because the exchange is absurd. It's totally absurd.
John can't believe it. What is that? Who cares if she? All right. Anyways, keep going.
All right. So when Tracy refers to Palmeri as Virginia Giuffre's journalistic collaborator, he's alluding to the fact that they once hosted a podcast together.
But but Tara reported, she's one of the top reporters on the Epstein files. So what did she do? She interviewed the victims.
Unacceptable, unacceptable. I don't do that.
101, what did you want her to do? Not interview the victims? In this case, maybe the answer is yes.
So how did Michael Tracey respond to Tara Palmeri's question, right? Like, are you getting paid by any of Epstein's co-conspirators? Like, what's going on here? We should watch that moment because it was awkward and Cenk is gonna potentially defend Michael Tracey. So take a look.
Are you being paid by any of the men who've been accused by Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm having trouble hearing right now. I wish I could respond to whatever nonsense she just blurted out.
I'm asking you if you have ever been paid by any of the men who have been accused of crime.
But maybe somebody can
astonishing coincidence that you suddenly lost your hearing when you were asked a very difficult question. Tara asked if you're being paid by anybody to smear the victims of the Epstein
rather than
scandal.
defend the merits of her journalistic output, which she can't because it's indefensible, what does she do? She tries to impugn me personally, tries to imply or
you're not answering.
What's the answer to the question?
Of course, I'm not being paid by anyone. I am paid by my readers on Substack, you idiot. You just can't engage on the merits, Tara. You are a disgrace.
I mean,
you are
I'm
going
happy to go
be
through all of my
remembered as somebody who was integral in fomenting this moral panic and mass hysteria that's led to mass defamation like you just tried against me.
Okay, there are rich and powerful men who have taken advantage of, and in some cases, preyed upon underage girls, some of whom, actually most of whom, came from disadvantaged backgrounds, and they were preyed upon specifically because they came from poor families or broken homes, and it would be harder for them to fight back. Throughout many decades, our government provided cover for those bad actors. That is a huge scandal. And the fact that, look, I think it's bad enough that we're living in a country right now that's just moving about the day, business as usual, nothing to see here. That's bad enough. But to have a so-called reporter add to it and then on top of that deny reality is beyond infuriating, because aside from the victims not getting the justice that they deserve, this whole story says a lot about the society we live in. Okay, about our leadership, about the power players in this country and across the globe. And I would prefer to not live in a world where disgusting pedophilic garbage gets to make decisions about the lives of all of us live.
Yeah, so Michael's acting like someone who's on the wrong side of this. And I don't mean like as an opinion, but as in like Alan Dershowitz and all the other people who cooperated with Epstein. But I don't think he is. So, man, maybe I'm wrong, but is he acting that way? Oh, clearly. I mean, I had battled with him on Twitter the other day, and he was like, name names, name names. That's like what Dershowitz does. And then he just said mass defamation, just like Dershowitz does. Like he wants you to name a name so you can get sued or something. And I'm like, Michael, why are you being dense? Here's a name, Jeffrey Epstein. They didn't investigate him for decades. They gave him the lightest sentence possible. They let him go back. They knew he was committing all these crimes and abusing all these girls, and they didn't rearrest him until there was another story out over a decade later, et cetera. Ghislaine Maxwell, there's another name. And again, for decades, they left her alone. Even when they went after Epstein, they didn't go after Maxwell.
He even attacks Julie K. Brown, by the way. He attacks Julie K. Brown, that's the reporter.
Yeah, so that's the reporter who broke the story.
Who broke the story and led to Epstein getting arrested the second time.
So, I mean, if you fancy yourself a great reporter, as I think Michael does, then you should be celebrating Julie K. Brown. That was an amazing piece of journalism that led to the arrest of Epstein that the whole government didn't want to arrest in the first place. And with, again, overwhelming evidence. You want more names, FBI names Les Wexner's co-conspirator. We've been through all of these, right? But Michael's the kind of guy that you can say 1,200 victims, you can name like all these different guys, and he'll say, so there's no evidence. You're like, I just listed the evidence. What is wrong with you? And I think part of the issue is he's too thirsty to stand out from the crowd.
Pick a different story. Pick a different story. Pick a different story, okay? This ain't it.
No, but here's why this story is perfect for that. Because who would be crazy enough to defend Epstein? And Michael Tracey's like, I'll be your Huckleberry. Okay, so I don't think he's being paid. And the earpiece, no, he was playing around with it before. He was having trouble with it before.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on the earpiece.
And he did say, of course I'm not paid. And he's not.
I don't think he's paid.
No, I
don't think he's paid. I think he's wrong on this issue. And he looks even more clownish when he starts throwing out insults against journalists who have been following this story meticulously for many years. And look, the problem with citing in that moment, in that spontaneous moment, the problem with citing specific examples or evidence is that there's so much. So like, what do you remember? What do you remember to cite in that context? You get what I'm saying? But I mean, we've been covering specific emails. We've been covering the 16-year-old girl's diary, the 16-year-old girl who had autism and Down syndrome and claimed that Leon Black had raped her, that one.
So how do you explain the government not investigating that allegation? That allegation is horrific.
So apparently there was an investigation into Leon Black. Charges were dropped though.
Yeah, and so tell me why they were dropped. I mean, maybe there's a good reason why they were dropped, but no one stated that reason. So since no one was either investigated or all charges were always dropped in this case, if you think that doesn't raise suspicion, you're not being honest. So this is Michael Tracey just doing the look at me daddy strategy here. So okay, Michael, you win. We all looked at you, but I'm not sure that it was a win you thought you were getting.
Yeah, we definitely gave you the side eye.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.